Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello my friend. Now we will discuss about communicative strategy. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Aditiya Manggala Putra. I'm from C class and I'm good looking. Okay, as we know before, we have studied three theories in this course. They are behaviorism, cognitivism, and nativism. Behaviorism tells us that if we often use a language and are continually expected, we will be able to master of the language we learn. Then, the theory of cognitivism, which is not but how often they learn the language, but how they want to learn with the language, and this theory led to someone mindset. There is also the theory of nativism. The theory you will not learn the language, but you need to acquire it. The language is acquired from environment. Therefore, if we want to learn language, at least we must be in environment that uses the language, or we make the environment itself. For the decision of communicative strategy, it includes three theories. Basically, we communicated that with the purpose is people can know what we want. The question is, so what is the definition of communication strategy? According to Wikipedia, communication strategy are strategies that learners use to overcome this problem in order to convey their intent meaning. In other words, this strategy is a way that we can make it easier to communicate with each other. Tahu nggak asal-usul strategi ini dari mana? Well, this communicative strategy was introduced by Larry Slinker. He is a professor emeritus of linguistics at the University of Michigan and former director of the University English Language Institute. In 1972, he introduced us to the concept interlanguage, or what we know today with the communicative strategy. This concept is what makes the basis of research in modern SLA. The principle behind interlanguage theory is that language of second language learner is governed by semantic rules, and that these rules are different from those of the language being learned and from those of the learner native language. As various state of learning, language learners do not merely copy what native speakers do, but create an entirely new language system unique to themselves. Slinker named this internal language as interlanguage. Simply, the goal is to make it easier for us to communicate. In the communicative strategy, there are 5 categories, and the category there are also subcategories that are used in application. First is paraphrase. Second is transfer. Next is apple of assistant. Fourth, meme. The last is avoidance. First, paraphrase. In paraphrase include their subcategories which are approximation. Now, your student try to approximate the right word for what that doesn't know. The point is related to the first language or L1. For example, you want to say mobil itu mahal. For easier, cause you don't know to say in English mobil itu mahal, so you say that's a rich car, even though that expensive car. Another example, you want to say selang air, but you don't know in English language, so you say hose water, but you just need to say hose. Okay? Understand? In point B, words cognate. This refers to students who are making a new word or phrase for what they don't know. For example, the student don't know the English word for school. They can say place of learning. Then the supermarket or mini market, the student can change the word to a shopping place. Next, circumlocution. Here the student describes word or phrase they doesn't know to express the word or phrase they means. For example, sahabat in English is close friend, but the student described as best friend forever. There is more example when you see the girl and want to praise her, but you don't forget to the word is pretty. You can be described and say, "How beautiful you are, baby." For example. Okay, next to another category, they are transfer. Okay, transfers to subcategory. They are literal translation and language switch. Okay, first literal translation. This means that the student translate by literally. They translate from first language to second language. For example, want to say surat jual beli tanah should be the land purchase agreement, but be a letter sell by land. It's okay. And then the other example, berakit-rakit ke hulu, berenang-renang ke tepian, bersakit-sakit dahulu, bersenang-senang kemudian. But B, rough upstream swimming around to the shore, getting safer, having fun. Even talking English language is no pain, no gain. It's okay, along your friends understand. Next to point B, language switch. We don't need to bother translate many more again from our language to second language. For example, we don't know the English language of a mobile or motor. We can call it transportation. Or we don't know is sendok, garpu, or piring in English language. We can say it as cutlery. So easy kan? Next to point 3, appeal for assistance. In this category, we ask the meaning of word that we don't know from exterior source of information. For example, we don't know the meaning of the word supervisor. We ask, what is that? Pardon me? Could you explain more about that? That make clear information when we go into communicate. Point 4, meme. Next is, in addition, there are 3 ways to make it easier for us to communicate it, and also there are other ways, namely non-verbal or that we call meme. For example, clapping your hand, express admiration, a wing rival that we understand, give a thumb to say it's good. And the last is avoidance. So in this last category, we have 2 subcategories which are the most important when communicating. First, topic avoidance, and second, method avoidance. In topic avoidance, we try to eliminate or replace the topic conversation because we know that in the topic we lack vocabulary. So instead of continuing, it's better to replace it. Next, method avoidance. Almost the same as a topic avoidance, only for message avoidance is more not responding to a message or information, because if they are copied, they are afraid that the vocabulary will be useless and the conversation will stop. So awkward. So the conclusion for the strategy is this technique can be made personal by presenting a large number of methods from which the student themselves can choose their own persona. Those presented with the technique shall become less intimidated and more efficient speaker of foreign language due to the mental and verbal standing behind them. Okay, thank you.